and hit him right in the crotch, and he was bleeding. I said, Skipper, you can't lose much more blood. We got to get you down to the beach. Get out of here. Get up there. Oh, he was mad. No, sir. We're going to drag you down on a poncho. I didn't go because I had my flamethrower. But a few of the guys did, and they got him down and then came back. I don't know what happened, but 45 years later, I saw him, and we had a great time together. It was in San Antonio. We had a reunion, 45th reunion, and he came. I was so glad to see him. And, I couldn't believe that he went through that. He said he was fine, but just, 2 years later, he died of cancer. We'd have followed him to hell and back. That's what we thought about him.
Did you happen to ask him why he made you a flamethrower, one of the smallest guys in the unit?
I asked him, I said, why did you put that flamethrower on my back, Skipper? He said, Graves, you're here, aren't you? That was drain pipe that flag was put on. People don't know that. We had no pole for a flag. We didn't know anything about a flag going up on the mountain. So they found this drain pipe and they put it together. And the Japanese used it to get rainwater down in the cave below because they couldn't remake their water. They couldn't purify it like we did. We purified our water. It didn't taste too good, but it was pure. And when we get up to the crest and stand there, look here to that wall. There it goes up. Man, it was a shock. And everybody saw that flag go up out in the bay. All those ships out there let go in the air with tracers and rockets. And our boys that were on the north fighting with the airstrip while we're doing Suribachi, they started opening up with tracers. It was just like a spectacle. It infuriated the Japanese. They fought twice as hard. We put our flag on Japanese soil for the first time in history.
How far were you from that flag?
Well, from here, that picture on the wall. You got it? I says, I have. Here it is. He said, good. Now, he said, I want to tell you something. See that door over there? Yes, sir. You're going to go in that door and meet a Navy doctor. I said, yes, sir. He said, he's going to check you over from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. You ain't never going to forget it. Do you want to do that? I said, yes, sir. He says, go. I went in, knocked on the door, and said, come on in. Walked the door, and he did. He checked me from the top of my head to the tip of my toes, and I ain't never going to forget it, and I haven't forgot it yet. It's going to take the people. The people will have to run our country again. We have to put in honest, God-fearing men to run our country like we used to have. That's what made us such a great nation. I see that's what you learn, and we learned in school. These kids don't know what you're talking about.
I wish I could have seen those days. I hope my son sees them.
I gotta love our country again. Breaks my heart.
Me too, Don. Me too.
We were brainwashed, and that's what you have to be if you're going to face the enemy. You get so much training, you know this, that it trains your mind to thinking. You yield to him. That's the way it is. Kill or be killed. Do everything you can to kill him, or he'll kill you. You're different. It isn't that you don't love your family, it's just that they don't sympathize with you. If you expect to get a little pity from your family, forget about it. Well, the war is over. Everybody's going back to work now. You're getting rid of war assembly. Every now and then we'd see a Jap Zero in one of our planes fight overhead. We'd see that. And then the shells from the warship, the battleships and that, you could hear them shoo, 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 like that. And then we'd watch where it would hit. Anyway, they brought the chow up. And we had steak and eggs. I never had a steak in the Marine Corps. I had a lot of eggs, but not a steak. So we're standing there eating at makeshift tables. And I said to this kid next to me, I said, hey, buddy, I said, what's with the steak and eggs? He said, Graves, think about it. What do they do with convicts before they execute them? That's the kind of humor we had going into battle. Old man Cotter, ready for retirement, would use a razor strap on your hand.
Oh.
Bam! Bam! And he'd watch your face. And the best thing you could do was start crying, because he stopped then. And the women were working right around the desk and all that. They hated it. You could see them wince their face. Well, old man Cotter died, and Mr. Long, the vice president, took over. And he called me in the office one day. He lived 2 blocks from us. I used to deliver him newspapers. He'd say, Donald, I want to show you something. He reached in a drawer. He picked it out. He said, you remember this? Yes, sir. I'll never forget it. He said, throw it in the ash can for me. You're the last one that was strapped with that. He never resorted to physical punishment. We've got a man that sympathizes with all sorts of things that we would not agree with. He's the president, for crying out loud. He doesn't care. He blames Trump for everything that's going on now. He's an imbecile. Something's wrong with his head. That man is sick, and they should not let him remain president. Democratic Party, if they were any kind of a decent, like it used to be, a good working man's party, then they would have said, you need a hospital, you cannot be president anymore. That's it. We wanted to listen to the big bands, you know. Our parents really didn't particularly like it, so here we could listen to it. And then all of a sudden the announcer comes on. He said, ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this broadcast. The President of the United States will address the nation. And on came Roosevelt, our hero. And this is what he said. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked upon by the naval and armed forces of the Empire of Japan. I interpret the will of Congress and of the people. We shall gain triumphant victory, so help us God. As soon as that was over with, I said to my 2 buddies, I said, tomorrow morning I'm skipping school. I'm going down and join the Marine Corps.
Being 98 years old, you have experienced a lot in life. You have experiences that not many people have been through. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Detroit, Michigan, 1925. I came up through the end of the big crash and went into the Great Depression. President Roosevelt was our president, and thank the Lord he got in when we had that, because he settled it. He got us out of it. Nobody had anything. Gas was 10 cents a gallon for your car. We'd pull up in front of a pump, and they pumped your gas for you, and they wiped your windshield and everything. You got everything for that dime. We were all on commodities, and so we lived in the cottage all year round. No insulation, and in the wintertime, and we had a pot-belly stove, a big one, and we would get that going with wood. My job was to make sure that that fire didn't go out all night. If it went out, I had a price to pay from my dad. I had one Japanese with a bag on his side, hand grenades. All he was doing was, he was drunk around sake. They had sake in the caves like crazy. They let them drink. I mean, anything to keep going, you know. One came at us with that bag of hand grenades, started throwing them. One lobbed down in the hole. Normally, if you grab it, you can throw it back at him. There's no way in the world we could get that hand grenade. I picked it, tossed it up. It hit the top of the bank and rolled back in. I said, out, a grenade. We all cleared the hole. One fella, and he was a married man, one of the replacements. His 1 foot stayed in, and it went off, and it tore his foot off. It was hanging by skin. And man, we screamed for stretcher bearer. Well, they brought a stretcher bearer over to us. He didn't know it. I didn't say anything about it. But I broke down crying. I lost it. And he said, don't worry about it, Don. I'm going home. And he did.
You have a quote. As the greatest generation, we fought that battle so Americans would not be speaking German and Japanese today.
Absolutely. You bet. We said that too. We won't be running around kids having Japanese language. We're Americans. I went the first night of that battle, I was alone in a hole too. It was a mess. It was really a mess, a disaster.
When is the first time you fired your flamethrower in battle?
First time on the way to Suribachi. I pretty well burned my way right through to the base. And by that time, I was the only one left in my outfit. They were wounded or killed. Hunker down during the day, let them have their fun, and then hit them at night. But they paid a price for it every night. We were ready. We had an old car that was sat in front of the house in Detroit, and we rigged a radio up. We would listen to the big bands. And as a kid, I spent time playing Bing Crosby, and I'd go sit down, and Bing would be singing. He'd like to, over the river, There was no power left. I had to go and crank it up again. Kate Smith, the big lady, 200 pounds, great American woman. During the war, she introduced God Bless America. Today, nobody sings it unless I have them sing with me. They don't sing it. They don't know it. High school students do not know that song. I'm not perfect, but then I'm so happy the Bible says, none perfect, no, not one. All have come short of the glory of God. Some people think they're good. They're no good. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
So I heard that we have very similar saying, no atheists are in foxholes.
We've had kids say, I'm looking out for myself. If I get killed, it's my fault. That's the end of it. Some of them will say, I'm going to hope God will help me get through this battle. No atheists in foxholes, though. I've seen them yell and scream and help. Oh, God, help me. I've heard it time and time again. And they won't tell you, but they'll pray. You know a man might be praying, you leave him alone. But that started on Guadalcanal. No atheists in foxholes.
Really? Let's talk about making hot chocolate in foxholes.
Hot chocolate. If I'm speaking, eventually, someone is going to say, Don, do you have any interesting stories? And some say, tell the hot chocolate. I don't like the hot chocolate, but I'll do it. We're sitting, waiting, nothing happening all day. I said, I feel like hot chocolate. And the other two guys says, well, make enough for three of us. We have ration bar, chocolate bars. We dice up that D bar. Did you ever see one? It was a combat bar. Got our canteen water in there and lit some demolition underneath. Beautiful, nice blue fire. We sat and shot in the breeze, watching, keeping our eyes open, looking around. And all of a sudden, you could smell it. It smelled good. Then all of a sudden, I heard a voice, hey, Marine, very good chocolato. You bring chocolato here. I said, if you want chocolate, you come and get it.
Don, how long did it take you to heat up a glass of hot chocolate being a flamethrower?
It was a patriotic day, and I spoke. And they were standing around with their hands in their pocket. One kid had his shirt tail hanging out. And I said to the scoutmaster, is the scoutmaster there? And he raised his hand. Would you mind bringing the boys up to the front? And he said, sure. And he got them all together. They all came up the front. They thought they were going to be recognized. And I said, would you boys turn around and face the audience? And they turned around and faced the audience. And I said, young men, do you realize that you are the future of America? Do you realize that maybe someday you will have to take our place when it comes to battle? Look at you now. You got your hands in your pocket, your shirt's hanging out. Look at your socks. Straighten up. Get in good shape there. And do you help people cross the street? We did. If you saw a woman with bags of groceries and ramps, would you help her or would you let her go walk right by you? We got a problem, and the school is to blame for it.
Can you describe what it was like to shoot the flamethrower? Was it bursts? Was it one long
What about it?
sweep?
If the fire was just on their back, like, they would run. They just, I suppose they're out of their minds, but they would run, and of course our rifleman would pick them off, you know. Some surrendered, had faces burned off, some of their bodies, and they didn't wear, it was hot on there during the day, and they wear these little briefs, or I call them diapers. They would be coming out, running out of the caves with those diapers. It was hot in those, it was smelly, terrible in those caves. Lice, they were full of, we had to spray them prisoners. We fumigated them. It was terrible, sprayed them, or it was spread like wildfire.
When you would shoot somebody with a flamethrower, how long would they be on fire?
Like I say, if you're gonna do burst, which you should, throw a burst, see what happened, nothing, throw another burst, and then move on.
When did you become a flamethrower?
I was issued a flamethrower to begin with in the 5th Division because that's what we were going to train for. My job was, of course, to knock out pillboxes.
What does a flamethrower carry in combat?
5 gallons of oil, gasoline mixture, a lot of fire, no napalm.
Did you carry a sidearm at all, or?
I carried a 45 because I couldn't carry a rifle. You have 6 to 7 bursts. That's all you've got. If you held the trigger back in 15 seconds, you're empty. You have to learn to swoosh, swoosh. 2.5 in this tank, 2.5 in that tank. The pressure tank was in the middle. The only thing that I would think of is if they shot me from the back and a round hit between the tanks, it would get right through in my back. But if it hit those, they were oval, so it would probably ricochet off. You know, I'm going to do something I bet you guys forget about. And I said, what's that? God bless America? No, we heard that, so sing it. So I sang it. And when I got done, there again, I heard a voice saying, America, Marine, very good sing. You sing again. And I said, no more singing. He said, okay. Because we were afraid they might want to sink in where we were at. Kids yelled over the hole, who's Graves? And I said, I am, come on in here. And he jumped in the hole and he said, what do you want me to do? And I said, sit down over there, you had a lot to do later on tonight. I said, well, I gotta be looking. And he said, Graves, give me the glasses, I'll look. I said, no, you get yourself killed. One of my buddies says, give him your glasses, that's what he's here for. I threw the glasses at him, he got up and we're shooting the breeze. He's up there looking, then all of a sudden, he fell back. His helmet rolled off between my feet. When it stopped, I looked down in the helmet. I was shocked. All 3 of us, we were just stunned. And there was a beautiful girl sitting in a chair, and on her lap was a baby. I lost it. I got up and screamed and yelled and shook my fist in the air and said, curse you, Jima. Curse God for letting that kid take my place. They came by and they said, hey, Don, you want to go to the movie with us Saturday? And I said, I haven't got any money. He said, all you need is a dime. Get in. I said, I'd have a dime. Wait a minute, maybe I'll ask my ma. Things were a little bit better then. I walked in, I'll never forget. Ma, can I have a dime? She said, what do you want a dime for? I want to go see a movie. Ken Maynard, favorite cowboy, is going to be on. She said, you want a dime? I said, yes, ma'am. Go earn it. I don't have it. I don't know what we're going to have for supper, but we'll have something. She always managed to have something. And you know, she said that to me, and I never forgot what she said. So I went to work. After school, I did everything I could. I shoveled snow in front of stores. I'd ask them if I could clean them. They'd give me 35, 40 cents like that, maybe 50 cents. And I always had money in my pocket. And you always have friends when you have money in your pocket. All your buddies come around.
You learned that at a young age, huh,
Oh,
Don?
yeah. When I hit the beach, I was terrified. I had my face right down on the sand. I was so scared. Everything. The screaming and the yelling. I just said, Lord, I said, I don't know much about you at all. I know you exist. I know you are. And if you could help me and get me all this, I don't know, serve you the rest of my life. I got word that I was to be looking for snipers. So I got up and I took my glasses on the ground like my elbows, and I'm looking around. Look, I couldn't see a thing. It was all quiet. I was there about 15 minutes, and I dropped back down. I said, there's nothing going on out there. So I phoned in, and I told them, no snipers. They said, keep looking, because they know where we're at. They're shooting us back up here. By the way, he said, you've got a kid coming for your replacement. My job the next morning was to turn my flamethrower in, grab demolition, and another man and I, we went up and we fixed a shape charge to drop that top in because that's where they were firing out of on our battalion. When we reached the top, I counted roughly 50 Japanese dead soldiers on top of that island. And we had to crawl over them to get to the mouth of the cave. And we set that thing off, and it billowed with fire, just bellowed inside, and then it was over. That seemed to stop them, but they went to the north.
What were your struggles adjusting back into civilian life back then?
I have to tell you this
Traumatic stress.
Yes, stress. We never had that. At least 4 of us would get together that fought from Detroit. And We never had that. We got together and talked old Marine stuff over again, hashed it over again. We couldn't adjust because we were thinking different. You know, they had 4 years of us, and they brainwashed us. Might as well admit it. Our talk was all Marine talk. I still use it. And another Marine will understand what you're talking about, too. You know, you'll never forget it. It's got to be, that's training. Trained to kill the enemy. I guess I had a couple of nightmares after I was home for a week or two. My mother said that she had to wake me up. And I said, you did? She said, yeah. You were moaning and groaning and yelling? Well, why you ask that? Because you were yelling his name out. But you just have to calm down and adjust to people. These are different people. They're your people, your family. Hollywood was good in those days. It's a bunch of trash now.
What was the media like?
In all fairness, I have never experienced anything in my life until now, these past years. The last of what I was used to was with Donald Trump. I haven't seen it since. Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I love my country. People are distorted. Their minds are all goofed up. They don't know what to do. We learned a lot of history from Hollywood. We learned all about Ford, how he started out. Our electricity, the first mirror in an operating room. We saw all of the Thomas Edison movies. Alexander Graham Bell, the electricity.
Your unit started with 335 Marines and left with only 18 from Iwo Jima.
In my company.
You were the only surviving flamethrower from the unit.
Yep.
You didn't sleep, brush your teeth, change your socks for 6 weeks.
When we got back and started training again with new men, I taught the flamethrower. I was the only one that taught the flamethrower. I couldn't get these kids to pick it up. They wouldn't put it on. For some reason or other, the lieutenants were standing right there, the platoon leaders, and they wouldn't say anything. So there's something about it that you can't force a man to use something like that. He has to want to do it. Because they banned that, you know.
I know they did.
Banned it, you know.
In fact, I was actually going to bring that up in the interview. Do you know what they would do to a guy like me if I used a flamethrower in combat today?